Hello and welcome to Spokane County Spotlight. I'm County Commissioner Shelley O'Quinn, and my guests today are members with the Dishman Hills Conservancy, Executive Director Jeff Lambert and President Dave Schaub. Welcome to Spokane County Spotlight, and congratulations to the Conservancy for 50 years. That's a great celebration. So I've been looking forward to this program today because the Dishman Hills is a beautiful natural area in southeast Spokane County in which my family and I spend a lot of time. So to get started today, why don't we go ahead and talk about where the Dishman Hills is located to give our viewers the opportunity to learn more about the Dishman Hills.
Great. Well, thank you, Shelley. It's such a privilege for us to be on the show, and we really appreciate this opportunity. The Dishman Hills is a geographic area that's located between the cities of Spokane and Spokane Valley to the south of Interstate 90. It's a ridgeline of mountains that extends from Appleway south to the Palouse. And currently it is comprised of three major areas of conserved land. The natural area to the north, which was conserved starting 50 years ago, is the original Dishman Hills natural area. To the south is the Eiler Creek and Big Rock areas, which were added more recently. And then the most recent additions to the conserved lands of the Dishman Hills is the Glenrose unit, which is right in the middle, in between the two islands of larger protected land. And the Dishman Hills Conservancy is a nonprofit organization made up of Jeff Lambert here, our executive director, and a number of active volunteers who are working to advocate for the connection and conservation, continued conservation of those three currently conserved islands of natural land.
And on the north side, folks can access Camp Carroll through Appleway, just off of Appleway.
That's correct.
On the south side, it's off of the Palouse Highway and Stevens Creek Road. And then on the Glenrose side, the east side, through, what's the main access point?
Yeah, that's off of Thierman Road, which
Road.
is east of Glenrose. You go up the hill, and it feels like a neighborhood because it's the most recently acquired land, and there's not a truly developed trailhead there.
Yet.
But that's correct. It's our next project. There's also access to the Eiler Creek unit off of Holman Road from Spokane Valley. So that's perhaps one of the more convenient access points for Spokane Valley residents.
And off of 16th.
That's right.
And Dishman.
Yeah, so there are a number of access points, but you've hit the major ones.
Absolutely. So to get us started today, let's talk about the history of the Conservancy. Jeff, do you want to give us some background?
Absolutely. Well, you'll be glad to know that Tom Rogers is the force that got the Dishman Hills Conservancy going 50 years ago. He started off as a volunteer for the county doing nature walks at county parks and other areas. And through that effort, he identified the Dishman Hills as a prime place for a nature reserve.
I'm happy to hear the county's been involved from the beginning.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I mean, seriously, when we talk about a partnership, a private-public partnership, this is a perfect example. And so the county, first, of course, the community, Tom and the folks that supported making this a natural area, went to the county and requested funds to start buying land. And the county commissioners turned it around and said, show us the community supports it. And so through a variety of fundraising efforts, petitions, over $100,000 was raised, a federal grant came through, and in 1966, we were on our way with the first acquisition.
Oh, that's amazing. What a great history. I know that my family has a long history with the Dishman Hills, from my dad hiking the area as a kid to I hiked the area as a kid, and now I take my kids with me, and it's such a great piece of the history of Spokane Valley. So let's talk about some of the things that we can see. And if we visit the Dishman Hills, there's basalt outcroppings, there's beautiful views. You know, what are some of those items that we can see when we hike the Dishman Hills?
You know, I was just thinking about this yesterday. I live near the Glenrose unit, and so I've gotten in the habit of going for morning runs in that area. And that area is a real mix of open meadows, and ponderosa forest. It's very different from the natural area to the north, which is a much denser mixed fir and ponderosa forest. The natural area, that section to the north, has amazing geologic features. It has evidence, it shows all kinds of evidence from the Lake Missoula flooding. Contrast that with the Eiler Creek Big Rock area to the south, where you have huge, high granitic outcroppings that are great for rock climbing. There's a lot of rock climbers that love to get up there onto the Big Rock and climb. And then beautiful views to the south. You can see all the way down to Steptoe Butte and out across the Palouse. It's just a marvelously varied landscape that can give you sort of intimate, woodsy experience contrasted with large vistas and high rock exposures.
Yeah, regardless of your fitness level, you can get to great outlooks quite easily. Big Rock is a spectacular place, a bit of maybe a mile walk, and a great overlook of the Palouse fields and
That
Mount
one is
Spokane.
uphill, though.
Yeah, but it's only a mile. And then in the natural area, you have Nimbus Knob and Eagle Peak. Once again, great views, great for families. So
I was just up there with my kids yesterday.
yeah.
3.5 mile hike.
That's a great hike. Now, I know that folks can either hike it on their own, or you also have some scheduled hikes this summer.
Just like every summer, we've got hikes actually all year round.
Oh, you do? That's fantastic.
Yeah, and our website is a great resource to learn about those hiking opportunities. They're free and open to the public. We encourage people to join and support us in our conservation efforts, but we have varied hikes led by local naturalists and historians. We've got a hike coming up with Jack Nisbet, who's a celebrated local historian and author. What else we've got?
Well, this summer we're really emphasizing family-friendly events. So from Camp Caro in particular, come with your children. Wednesday mornings we have a geology walk. So we got a little bit of education and a lot of fun.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, I do want to make sure that we get back to volunteers, because I know that the work that happens in maintaining the Dishman Hills Conservation Area wouldn't happen without the volunteers that you have. So let's talk a little bit about the importance of volunteers to the work that you're doing.
Well, we have legions of volunteers. The trails are built by volunteers. Restoration work, including taking care of weed control, is done by volunteers. We have most of our administrative and publicity work is done by volunteers. So we have a terrific board of 12. And one of the things that I really enjoy when I look back at the 50-year history is how the community came together in a wide variety of ways to support the Dishman Hills Garden Club, sending in $50, school kids doing scrap iron collection and cans and bottles and turning that in. But my favorite is the school kids who said, we're going to turn down our ice cream this week and instead have the school send the money to the Dishman Hills to buy land.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. And I know that we've also been the beneficiary of many Eagle Scout projects.
Indeed.
That have, and without those Eagle Scouts doing some of their big projects, that's helped us move it along. So
I wanted to point out one other thing in regards to volunteerism. The organization is 50 years old, and it's only been in the last 2.5 years that we've had a single paid employee. And so really the vast majority of the work of the Dishman Hills Conservancy has been done by a very dedicated group of volunteers. Jeff was a volunteer for years before he became the executive director. So it really is a proud history and legacy of the organization.
Well, it's that passion and history that people bring to the table, that they are conserving, this beautiful area in southeast Spokane County for us to enjoy today and in the future. And I know that my boys and I we appreciate the work of the volunteers. We've been out there and we do hikes. It can be 26 degrees outside, it can be snowing, or it can be a beautiful sunny summer day. And it doesn't matter the time of year that we hike, but we're out there all the time. And so I always want to say thank you to the work that all of you do in making sure that we keep this area for the future. So,
can I just tell a quick story in
yes,
regards
you may.
to? So just yesterday we were hiking. My two kids and a friend. We went up to Nimbus Knob, and it was so great because we got to this point where we stopped and we were drinking some water, and my kid said, "Wait a minute! The last time we were here, we made a 3-foot diameter snowball. Remember, Dad? We were making a snowman, and you rolled it off the hill there." And so you're right. It's an area that you can enjoy year-round and revisit time and again. And it's that connection to the land that fuels our commitment as volunteers and stewards of the land.
I know some people think we are crazy, especially when it was 26 degrees, but it was in February. It was the most beautiful day outside. So we packed hot chocolate and headed to the top of Eagle Peak. And it's such a short, easy hike that even when it's cold outside, we can get out, enjoy some nice weather and a quick hike, and then we're back home. It's great having this location just steps from our back door.
Yeah.
We are truly blessed in the valley. So I know that a part of making all of this happen, especially between, we're going to shift and talk about now and into the future, is through donations from the community. And the county has been a big part of being a partner with the Dishman Hills, as you mentioned from the very beginning. Different land areas have been purchased through Conservation Futures, but the Dishman Hills Conservancy has also purchased property. So let's talk about some of your acquisitions, some of the fundraising you're doing, and what your vision is for the future.
Sure. Well, as you've just pointed out, the Dishman Hills Conservancy has pursued a number of different strategies to acquire and conserve land in the Dishman Hills. We own, it's about 800 acres of land that the Dishman Hills Conservancy owns outright of the approximately 2,700 acres of conserved land in the Dishman Hills. So that's a significant chunk, about a third of all the land that our organization owns outright. As you pointed out, we also have partnered time and again with Spokane County to acquire land through the Conservation Futures program. And there are also other agencies. Washington State DNR is a partner in the ownership and management of some of the lands. We, as an organization, are entirely funded from tax-deductible donations from our supporters and our members. And that's no small challenge. We're buying land that costs hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And right now, we've just a few months ago, we closed on another parcel of land that we need to pay off the mortgage on. And so we're constantly in a fundraising mode. We have many longtime supporters, but we're always looking to increase our basis of support. And as the population of Spokane and Spokane, the city of Spokane Valley and the county generally grows, the pressure on this remaining undeveloped land increases. And so we don't have another 50 years to connect these conserved areas. And so the pressure is really on, and we feel it, to raise the necessary monies to acquire and conserve the rest of the land.
The Dishman Hills is in a different situation than the county is in. When property becomes available and it's at risk, we move to secure that land in perpetuity. And sometimes we've made offers, like Dave said, for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we've got 10 grand in the bank. And what's amazing is the community always responds and helps us, pay off that note, usually extremely quickly. And that's the situation that we're in now. Property became available, it was at risk. We bought it, and what I recommend is if people are interested, go on a hike, learn about the Dishman Hills, join the Dishman Hills Conservancy, and then you're going to learn about what our projects are.
And hike the different areas. As we
Yeah,
talked
yeah.
earlier, there are different access points, and each access point gives you a different experience.
Absolutely.
And if you have never been, if you've never gone through the Glen Rose area, if you've never accessed through Stevens Creek, and all you've accessed is through Camp Carroll, you don't realize, just how extensive the property is, and just the unique experiences that each access point offers.
And as you access each of those different areas and you get to the high points, look to the north and look to the south and consider the future where all of that is going to be connected. And you could drive to the trailhead at Appaway and hike south for 7 miles on public lands, well-conserved lands, great habitat, and you could spend all day. You could, it would be marathon type trail hiking or running that you could do, and it's a great future that we're working for.
The great thing about our guided hikes and walks is we will point out not just the land that's in county or Dishman Hills Conservancy ownership, but also the prospective land that we're targeting. And right now we have 800 acres that we've nominated to the Conservation Futures that's spectacular additions, provide great public access and increase the habitat. We go from 2,700 acres and add 800 acres. It would be a big step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Now, I know that we have, Dave, you're on the Spokane County Parks Board. Thank
Yeah.
you very much for
You're
your
welcome.
service there. We are in the middle of our next Conservation Futures round. And so do you want to talk a little bit about the process that you're going through? Since we've mentioned that 800 acres has been nominated, but I'm not sure our viewing audience necessarily knows what that means.
Sure. Well, the Conservation Futures program is a marvelous program. It's a statewide program that Spokane County is a real leader in our state. And it runs off of property tax dollars. A small percentage of property tax that we all as landowners pay goes to fund the program. And then on a 5 to 6 year basis, when there's enough money in the coffers, the round of nominations opens. And that most recent round has just closed. So we work with very willing sellers. We're not trying to, snatch anyone's land away from them. We only work with willing sellers to build a relationship of trust and communication about what it means to participate in the Conservation Futures program. And those property owners then agree to nominate their properties. Jeff did an immense amount of work to put together our nominations, and they have been submitted to the county along with a number of other very worthy projects. And then the Parks Board has a subcommittee that evaluates those nominations, ranks them, and then makes recommendations to the commissioners about which land to prioritize. So we're hoping that that will, filter to the top of that process. But like I said, it's competitive, but we feel very good about the nominations that we've made.
Well, Spokane County has, we have about 9,000 acres in Conservation Futures lands, and we have Conservation Futures properties all around Spokane County.
Yeah.
That folks who don't live in southeast Spokane County don't have to think, well, where's my property? Actually, we have land all over the county that we hope that people will enjoy. And actually, if they go to the Spokane County Parks website, there are maps of the areas along with hiking trails that describe each of the different areas. And I do want to take a minute, if you don't mind, and talk just about 4 of those areas, and then we can step back and wrap up on the history of the Dishman Hills. But we do have, I wanted to make sure we highlighted, just for our viewers who are not necessarily able to make it out to Dishman Hills or who live in other parts of the county, to let them know that we also have areas such as Antoine Peak, which has more than 12 miles of trail. It's in northeast Spokane County, and has beautiful views, hiking trails. We're actually working on developing out another trailhead there. And those views provide you amazing views of Spokane Valley and Idaho. And
Mount Spokane.
Mount Spokane. And feel free. I know, Dave, you've hiked many of these. We were talking before the show about how you're trying to take the opportunity to hike and run each of these with your friends, which when I first became a commissioner, my kids and I also went on that tour because we always hike the valley areas, and we made our way around Spokane County. I will admit we have not hit each of them. We have a lot of conservation feature properties, but our goal is to actually get through all of them. We also have the Liberty Lake Regional Park, which you can take a hike up to a waterfall, to Cedar Grove. We have new cabins at the campground in Liberty Lake this year. We have beach access, playground. The Liberty Lake Community Park is well loved and well used. I've shown up on a sunny spring day before the park even opens, and the parking lot is completely packed and full. If we head out to the southeast portion of Spokane County, we have the Slavin Ranch Conservation Area with easy access off of 195 that takes our hikers around wetlands, and they can see eagles and waterfowl and all kinds of wildlife.
Slavin is a great winter destination.
Really?
When it's cold, you go out there, you can ice skate on the ponds. It's just a marvelous spot to go in the winter. Cross-country skiing is great out there as well.
I have not been out there in the winter.
You should check it out.
I'll have to check that one out. And then taking us back up north to northwest Spokane County, we have the Little Spokane River Conservation Area, which Spokane County started putting together, I think in the 70s and 80s in partnership with the state and Natural Conservancy and other community partners to make sure that we were providing access to the water and also protecting areas along the Little Spokane River. So those are just 4 of many areas. I don't know, Dave, do you even know how many we have?
You know, I don't know, but it's a long list, and they're just marvelous destinations. It really, is sort of the fulfillment of the near nature, near perfect city slogan. I get out as often as I can, and I've been on the Little Spokane River in the last couple weeks with my kids. It's just the diversity of lands in the Conservation Futures program is really a wonderful asset to our community.
What I think is great is that we have wildlife, we have recreational opportunities, natural areas, all within minutes of our doorsteps, regardless of where you live in Spokane County. Yeah. And I know that the tagline, near nature, near perfect, has been around for a long time, but I believe it's so true for the quality of life that we appreciate here in Spokane County. So we have just about 5 minutes left, so I do want to make sure that we highlight anything that around the Dishman Hills and the Conservancy and any work that you're doing that we haven't had a chance to talk about, because this is such a great year, celebrating 50 years, and not just celebrating the past and the present, but the future of what you hope to accomplish.
Well, I would encourage everybody to take an opportunity to do one of our many guided events. I mean, we have a picnic on August 4th. We have, like I say, the family-friendly events. You'll learn a lot, have fun, and if you want to get involved, we have many ways for folks to get involved.
I was going to add, in addition to our conservation activities, we also have a great education program. This last spring was our 3rd year of what we call the Kids in the Hills program. We have an education committee that works with other partners, local partners, to put on environmental education programming for area public school students. We also have a stewardship arm of our work, which does trail maintenance work, weed management, strategies development, and then we're in the middle of creating a forest management plan.
Oh, wow.
And that will really help inform our work going forward in terms of fire management and that kind of thing, timber, not timber extraction, but management for responsible forest health.
That's perfect. And I know you have a fabulous website, by the way, so all of this information is on your website, and I encourage our folks to check it out. I do want to make sure, we've shown the map as we've talked about where we're, the Dishman Hills, and we've talked about the north section, we've talked about the east section, we've talked about the south section. What is your vision for for connecting that area? We've had 800 acres added, but what else needs to happen? What is your vision for the future?
Well, ultimately, we want to connect all of these existing areas into a broad conservation corridor. Recreation would be part of it, but if you don't have the broad connection, wildlife migration, protection of native ecosystems is not possible. And quite frankly, one of the things that we really enjoy about connecting with nature is seeing the wildlife, enjoying the flowers and other native plants. So ultimately, we want to connect all these areas into one contiguous conservation area.
To conserve and connect the wild heart of Spokane. That's our mission.
That's great. In the last couple of minutes, do you have any favorite stories that you want to share about the Dishman Hills? It could be a story such as the kids giving up their ice cream, a favorite hiking story. I know you've had lots of volunteers that have shared them. We had a great 50-year celebration dinner just a couple of months ago, and had an opportunity to hear those stories as well. So just final few stories that you want to share with our listening audience.
Well, they've been working on conservation in the Dishman Hills for 50 years. I moved to Spokane in the 1980s, and I went for a walk in the natural area and ended up at Eagle Peak. And I remember sitting on Eagle Peak looking to the south, wondering about that area. So for me, the reason that I work on this is because it's such a terrific legacy for the community to connect all these areas. And it's kind of cool that we mentioned we had 800 acres in Conservation Futures nominations. Most of those property owners are coming to us to be part of this. So we have great community support, and quite frankly, the property owners, generally speaking, are in support as well. So that's pretty cool.
Great. We have 1 minute left. So any final thoughts, Dave?
Well, I was going to say, at the risk of sounding too gratuitous, shortly after I joined the board, I got involved in trying to protect the Glen Rose area, which at that time was owned and managed by Washington State Department of Natural Resources. And so I reached out to you, Shelley, by email to try to lobby on behalf of transferring that land to the Conservation Futures Program, and was delighted that you replied. and I've just been so grateful for your support and your connection to the land. And it was so great to get out and hike together with Doug Chase, Spokane County Parks director, on a blisteringly hot summer day and traipse to the top of that land. And we've been in contact since then, and I've just appreciated so much your connection and support.
Well, thank you. That hike resulted in me recruiting you to our Parks Board, so I appreciate it.
Both ways, I guess.
So I've enjoyed our discussion about the 50th anniversary of the Dishman Hills Conservancy and the county's other beautiful conservation areas, and I hope our viewers will find some time this summer to pay it a visit and see what the excitement's all about. And there's more information available on the websites that we've mentioned. So my thanks to the Dishman Hills Conservancy Executive Director Jeff Lambert and President Dave Schaub for joining me today. I'm County Commissioner Shelley O'Quinn, and thank you all for joining us for Spokane County Spotlight.